Step into the Trademark, your go-to podcast for everything marketing in the trades. Hosted by award-winning industry marketing experts Sarah Ghirardo from Remarkable and Eric Thomas from Rival Digital. Together, we're here to unite the worlds of trades and marketing, bringing you insights, stories, and strategies from the heart of the industry. Whether you're a trade professional, a marketing expert, or somewhere in between, this is the place for you. Listen in as we're here for the big ideas, the game changers, and the everyday successes. Because at the Trademark, we're with the trades and for the trades.
Thank you for listening to the TradeMarke Podcast. We're super excited today. We are in Austin, Texas with Jenny from Powerhouse Consulting, and we just wanted to kind of rent a studio and have a podcast. So that's what we're doing today.
Happened on a whim, didn't it?
It did.
We were having dinner and you said we're scheduled to record on Friday, right? And I thought, I live day by day.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not sure. I'll know Thursday night. And we had a fantastic dinner and you said, why don't we do it in person in Austin? And that's just the way things go here.
Yeah.
You go with the flow.
Yeah.
You say yes to whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
And what a cool honor to be on the East Side with you in a studio recording this podcast.
Yeah. I'm super excited to just be here and then to spend so much time with you. It's been such a blessing. And I love coming to Austin because I know that there's 4 people that will reach out to me in Austin, and they did. But you were first, and I was like, well, I'm going to choose Jenny this time.
All right. That's, what is it? The speed to lead?
Right,
Lead to lead? What's the marketing
It's
saying?
the speed to lead, yeah.
Okay, I was the speed to lead. I won.
You won. So anyways, it's really been really wild here in Austin. I've had such a great time. A bird flew into my hair yesterday. Did I tell you about this?
You did not, but I saw your very intellectual Google search about why.
Why would a bird?
I also want to know existentially why.
Yeah.
Birds fly into our hair.
It's such a good search, but other people have searched it as well. They may not have spelled it wrong like I did, but it was pretty wild. And then this morning I saw a dead bat on the sidewalk, and I was like, this Austin is weird. I don't know what's going on right now.
He must have had a rough night.
He did. So, Jenny, tell me about you. Tell me about how Powerhouse Consulting got started. Tell me about you and Pam. Let's dive into it.
I love that. Thank you. Sharing the founding story of Powerhouse is one of my favorite things to do. You mentioned Pam, who's my partner and co-founder in the business. She and I started the company about 5 years ago. And prior to that, we had worked together at various capacities serving the industry. We've each spent the better part of 2 decades, primarily on the HVAC side, and our paths crossed by happenstance by way of serving contractors through my other company. I found Pam and tell her this and anyone that I can that she is an absolute unicorn. She is magical in everything. Somebody referred to her the other day as a Swiss Army knife, which I think is the perfect definition of Pam. But she and I came together to serve contractors through my other company. And over time, we saw the advent of field service management software entering the industry. So ServiceTitan, of course, coming in hot, very quickly becoming the number one software for larger and contractors with that growth mindset. And I, at the time, represented some of the larger contractors in the country. And they were adopting ServiceTitan. They had wonderful experiences with implementation, and they were excited to continue to use the product to its fullest extent. And the feature that got Pam and I thinking about ServiceTitan support as a service was Marketing Pro, which of course is near and dear to you.
Yeah.
And Pam and I were tasked with implementing Marketing Pro while it was in beta, so very early on, and understanding how to build effective campaigns within the software.
Yeah.
The functionality was there, but what we quickly realized was if there were broken workflows, it would affect the data that was feeding into the audiences of Marketing Pro. And so we started to peel back the onion to figure out, okay, how do we need to define this audience? How do we need to validate the data? And it started with redefining workflow and training the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, we thought we can see this as an opportunity where contractors have a genuine interest in operationalizing their businesses by leveraging technology,
Mm-hmm.
but there is either a lack of understanding of how to fully manage the product according to their business, or a lack of time. And so to be an outsourced extension for a contractor
Mm-hmm.
where they can not only lean on our expertise in the software, but also our expertise in the industry to make sure that we're implementing thoughtful workflows and understanding some of the pain points or friction that they would experience. So without oversimplifying it, it was that notion that led us to the vision of Powerhouse, which was an outsourced extension of a contractor's business to provide that growth-oriented training, education, and implementation through software.
Yep.
And 5 years later, we are still proud to be very close partners with ServiceTitan, and we've served hundreds of contractors with either implementation or optimization, really helping them to get the most out of what this powerful software can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when I first started at ServiceTitan and Pam was in the Marketing Pro Facebook group, and she would ask all of these really intelligent questions that we did not know because I was on the email beta too, right? And so I was like, I think I broke it. I sent an email to 70,000 people. It took 3 days because you're not supposed to send to 70,000. It was the first email I sent, right? My boss was like, yeah, we just need to email everybody. We need calls on the board. And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds great. So I did and broke the system on the back end. But then when I finally got to ServiceTitan and I was listening to all the questions, Pam was in there asking questions. She was like, how do I do this? This doesn't make sense. And so a lot of our product was built based on her feedback.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate that because I took it back and I was like, I don't know if we thought about this, but Pam did. And so it was such a cool thing.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. And that is such a beautiful example of not only the start of our partnership with ServiceTitan, but how we've continued that partnership. Yeah. And we always say it's been such an honor to be partners with really the prominent software in our space, but also to be seen as thought leaders and collaborators when it comes to serving our mutual customers. And so when we're able to support a client in lockstep with the ServiceTitan teams and not get it right every time, but always work toward the solution, it's made for some wonderful work in the market. So beyond Marketing Pro, we've had the opportunity to partner with teams on the inventory initiative, which was maybe more complex than marketing. Do you think I could say that? I think it might be.
You can't.
So
the whole thing is way more complex than marketing.
I know.
It's all marketing, yes.
The inventory initiative, enterprise hub, we have had the extreme opportunity to collaborate with ServiceTitan and the developers on what these products look like and how are they best going to support contractors.
And I think that's the coolest part is we literally have the trades not only in our organization, like helping and giving feedback, but we partner with the trades to make sure that the product is the best build that it can be to serve them, right? Like we just want to help. And with partners like you, like we've grown extensively in all of the different products that we've made. So again, really appreciated with that. For let's fast forward. So now you guys have a successful business. You just celebrated your first off-site retreat. So tell me about how your business has grown in the past couple of years, how many employees you have, and then all of the different services that you now have.
Absolutely. So I love talking about our team. And I shared with you the other night the humility that I felt standing face to face in front of team members that had been with me for years, though I hadn't met them in person, to be able to see them and share energy, but most importantly, to look them in their eye and thank them for trusting our vision early on, for showing up every day, for working so diligently to provide the best services, not only to each other. That's a cornerstone at Powerhouse is collaboration and support internally, but also the best support and work toward our clients and our partners. And so it was such an honor to be in their presence. I think I shared with you that it didn't hit me until I was there. Leading up to it, it was just, go mode, which we're all so often in. I don't know if we take time to stop and appreciate the hard work. But once I was there, it truly was the honor of a lifetime to meet our team in person. So what started as 3 original founders of Powerhouse has now grown into a team of 30.
Wow.
Yes. And it's been a wild ride, although I will say very responsible growth. One of the keys to our success is understanding scalability. How do you do that effectively without compromising, number one, our primary duty, which is to support our team, and our duty to support our contractors, so that managing that level of service and success that we've become known for. So while we have grown exponentially, we've also grown quite responsibly, ensuring that there is a proper foundation and platform to support this growth. So we're a team of 30, something that is very unique, and I knew from day one would be important to the Powerhouse story, is that each of our team members comes from the trades industry. The same way that Pam and I did or have. It was really bringing the duality of knowledge in software and technology and how that serves the trades. But how does a trades business run? What operationally does a contractor need to know in order to adopt and implement technology? What pain points will we face, or points of friction do we face, and how do we overcome those? It says a lot, and I know you know this as you apply it to the marketing side, when you have that industry knowledge and you've worked for and served contractors, and then you can bring that expertise into software best practices and implementation. So that is something fun and unique about Powerhouse, is that all 30 of us come from within the trades.
I think that's so great.
It is.
Because the knowledge, like you said, the knowledge that you get from working in the industry, you get to understand and love the people.
Yes.
And when you fall in love with the people, you can then say, like, here's my honest opinion of how you're using the software. And honesty hurts sometimes when we talk about software, because I want them to be so successful, right? But I couldn't do that if I came from outside of the industry. They would be like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? You're talking software. You're talking over my head. But when you're from the industry, you can have honest conversations that you understand their business operations. And so it like almost sets the tone of like, I'm just like you.
Just like you. And one thing that you mentioned, and I want to touch on this a little bit, is what a people-centric industry this is. And what I know is that building those relationships, intimately understanding the wins, the failures, the losses, how we grow from that is pivotal in performing any work in the trades. We focus on lifting each other up. You see peer-to-peer networking or business advisory groups. I mean, I've never seen another industry that has so much support, even from perceived competitors in the market. We're all here to champion each other, ultimately lifting the trades up. And I think that's something very unique about this industry. And so when you understand that it's first about the people and you lead with that people-centric approach, everything else can fall in place.
It does.
For example, one of the big concerns that we get when we're doing departmental training, so for example with CSRs or with technicians, there's a real concern about technology and how will that eliminate their job, or will it eliminate their job? And one of the things that we like to say is, it won't eliminate ever the people in this industry. It may change the role. It will absolutely enhance the roles. But one thing that will never be taken away from the trades is the people.
Right. No, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because it's true. Like, and it's not like their jobs are going to go away. They're going to evolve, like you said. And we've seen that from like a long time ago to today. Like they're just going to continuously evolve.
Yes. And that's
Yeah.
a part of understanding it. And so knowing that we need to evolve, knowing what the market, how the market is changing
Mhm.
and how we will implement that in our industry, that's at the heart of what we do at Powerhouse. It's not being scared of the change, it's managing the change.
Mhm.
So back to the team, and I love highlighting that they're from the trades, but really highlighting what they've done for Powerhouse.
Mhm.
One thing that I shared with them that are on site is Powerhouse, to me, what I've come to realize, it's not just a name that we came up with 5 years ago when we founded the business. It is an absolute description of everyone that works here. Our team are Powerhouse. They are fiercely loyal to their accounts. They are dedicated, not only with how they serve or how they build the products out, but their own knowledge, ensuring that they are holistically certified or have a proper understanding of all of the tech in the market. How does it relate to your primary FSM? How will they support a contractor's entire business by fully leveraging their technology? And it's with that heart and drive that we took what started as a vision for providing software support, software implementation, more white glove and turnkey support, which is enhancing the wonderful support they already get from ServiceTitan. But how do we now take that and adapt to what the market looks like today? Which, Sarah, I know you know this better than anyone when it comes to technology for the trades. What we've seen is an absolute explosion in the past couple of years. ServiceTitan has created an entire ecosystem of businesses that serve the trades through technology. And so when you think about that, you have your end-to-end software, which is your ServiceTitan or your primary FSM. But now we have a whole world of third-party integration products that are available. And it's really exciting. We were talking about a couple of them the other night. Each of these new tech products is identifying a problem in the industry that is not being met, and they're coming out with targeted solutions, and they're passionate about it, and they really want to provide value to contractors. However, what we're seeing as implementers and, let's say, advocates for contractors is a sense of overwhelm, because we have this massively powerful platform, your primary FSM, and it can do so many things, whether it's through advanced configurations or the Pro product suite. But then you have all these third-party tech. And so as a contractor, it almost becomes a full-time job to realize, what do I need for my business? What makes sense for where I'm at today? I have ServiceTitan. Am I getting the most out of it? Are my teams properly trained? Are there parts of it I'm not using? So we have all of those questions, which I like to summarize as, I don't know what I don't know. That's a very common thing that I hear. But now we have hundreds of third-party technology products to choose from, and the marketing behind them is great. You're seeing them on your Facebook feeds, and your peers are telling you about them, and the influencers. And so what we've seen over the past couple of years is an excitement to fully embrace technology and to reap the benefit of what technology can provide, but a lack of a plan in how will I implement, how will I define what I need for my business, and then how will I manage it. And so the result that we're seeing is contractors are left in a state of perceived efficiency, where I've bought into all of this tech now, and I've done all of the things that the market is saying I should do, but why are my margins slimming? Why are my profits declining? Why am I running less efficiently? It's because they're not being utilized correctly. And so the team, our Powerhouse team, they were absolutely pivotal in identifying what was going on in the market and offering solutions to their clients. So saying, let me analyze this product. Let me see if it's a good benefit for your company. Let me see how it implements with ServiceTitan. How will we continue with ServiceTitan as a source of truth and build it out? And so that led us to the next phase in technology support for the industry, which is a holistic understanding of a contractor's tech stack appropriate to their business.
Yes.
And so that's where we're at today. We absolutely offer our traditional services of ServiceTitan support and implementation optimization, but now we're introducing tech stack definition to contractors. So how are you, number one, getting the most out of your primary platform, ServiceTitan? That's key. Let's get the most out of what you're paying for.
Yep.
And then where do we add on according to a contractor specific business as it is today and their growth goals?
That's such a great thing because there's so much wasted spend in technology.
Yes.
And I am probably the biggest wasted spender in technology. When I see an AI tool, I'm like, I'll just buy this and then I'll unbuy it in 10 days when they want the full price. Like I'll cancel it. Never do. And so I have all of these different AI softwares on my phone because my challenge to myself is like, you have 3 minutes. If you can't do this in 3 minutes, then the software is not what you need. And so I play with that game. But as a contractor, sometimes they see, and when I was one, I saw shiny new things. And I was like, this is going to work. Like, I think that we should evaluate. So I would evaluate multiple products out there, and some of them I would buy and not use. And if I had someone to guide me in that process, that would have been great, right? Because eliminating that wasted spend in software and being more efficient, I was like, oh no, this is going to help me get to the next level. But I didn't have time to get to the next level myself, right? And so I think I think it's just so good to be honest about that.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing your personal experience working at a contractor at the level that you did, particularly in your role, which was to evaluate technology in the marketing space. And I think that's where it's really pervasive. And I mean pervasive in a good way, not in a negative connotation. But there are so many incredible tools to automate marketing activity. And it is exciting. And contractors, that's probably the number one top of mind issue with a contractor is, how do I get more leads? How do I manage the leads that I have? How do I nurture my database? Right? That's the number one thing. So marketing is always top of mind.
Yes.
There's a solution for everything. And this, Sarah, is actually where we, through our CRP initiative, CRP is contractor resource planning. So that's with the process of going through and auditing a contractor's current tech stack and then evaluating to produce a playbook that makes sense for their business. A part of our evaluation is identifying all of the tools that they're currently using to highlight redundancies, wasted spend, or inefficiency in implementation. Marketing is one of the worst for redundancy because there's a lot of overlap in marketing tools. And it's a matter of understanding, what does your business need? What are you currently paying for? If a tool offers a redundancy, so let's say Marketing Pro, which is really a full service suite, there are some other tools that offer similar or identical services of Marketing Pro, but maybe a feature Marketing Pro doesn't have. And so now you're in a cost benefit analysis. Do you really need to pay an extra $1,400 a month to do one extra thing as opposed to getting more creative with Marketing Pro. And so we go through that thoughtful exercise of not only what they have currently, but why are they using it? What problem in their business is it solving? And is it really creating efficiency, or is it adding an unnecessary cost? But to your point and what you mentioned about signing up for these tools and not using them, I think that would be second behind the redundancy is there is such great intention with signing up for these tools and an excitement, like you said, the shiny object. And from a contractor's point of view, and listen, I get it as a business owner, if this is promising me an increase in revenue or an increase in productivity and efficiency, if I can make my team's life easier, I'm all in. That's always at the top of my mind. And contractors have that same mentality. How do I make things easier? How do I grow my business? So they go into it with the best of intentions. They buy into these tools, but without a proper plan in place of how will you implement it? How does it integrate with your source of truth, your primary FSM? But then who's managing it?
Yes.
What are you doing with the data? Do you understand it? Do your teams know why you signed up for it? Do they know how to use it? And that's often a missing component that we see. It's not a lack of desire to use technology. Everybody wants what these products offer,
right?
Which is greater efficiency. We all want that. But do we have an intentional plan of how we're going to use it? And have we achieved our team's buy-in? Because it's ultimately the teams that will make the change. So one great example, we have a team member here who worked at a contractor shop for quite some time. I think it was about 14 years she was there, and she was instrumental to their growth and saw lots of changes, implemented ServiceTitan for them. She shared with us that Pantheon was one of the most exciting events for their company. And leading up to it, they knew that they would learn all of these new developments and how they could use the software. But she said she also carried a lot of trepidation because what she knew was when her company's owners went to Pantheon and walked the trade show floor, that they would get excited about learning about these new products. They would sign up for them on the spot, and then they would bring them back to the shop and say, here are 10 new tools we signed up for.
Oh, God.
Implement them. Right? And so that's really kind of how it goes, because there's not enough time to figure out how does this all fit in. And so reaching out for that third-party support to help you identify that strategic plan, to understand how to implement, how to train your team, how to gain adoption, and then most importantly, how do you manage that data? It can really take the burden off of the owner-operator from having to figure all of that out.
Yeah, it does. And where I come from, the owner would show us the software and then say, okay, go find 3 more that are like this, and then evaluate that. And then there was a strategic process that we had to create to implement. And then we had to go to the team and we had to teach the team. Then I got to do the data. Like it was a full process. Like he knew what he was doing, but in the end, there was still a lot of wasted spend in our tech stack now that I think about it, because I'm only one person, and I think that's what you were saying is like you might have a small team. You might not have a ServiceTitan admin inside of there.
Right.
You might not have high-level marketer that can implement products. You might not have a CSR that understands why you got this, right? And so having your team go in there with a plan and being like, hey, and if you keep saying the word thoughtful, and I think like that is the best word to describe it. And when I think of you and Pam, I always think of thoughtful, because you care about every step. And I know Pam's brain is in every step of everything. And I love it. It's beautiful and brilliant, Pam. And I tell everybody that. I'm like, oh, yeah, she's like way smarter than I am. But I know that you do curate a thoughtful plan. And I think that contractors really need to understand, yes, there are shiny objects out there. Yes, you can buy them, but are you utilizing what you have today?
Right. So another interesting thing, and I think hopefully a helpful nugget for your audience is when it comes to that intentionality with your technology spend, have it correlate with your business's growth goals. So when I think we talked about this when I started, and I started on the marketing side for HVAC, just like you did. But a long time ago, before digital marketing was a thing, there was no SEO or PPC.
Were there flip phones? Is that what we're talking about? Like the phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a little phone. So my pager that I did have a pager, and that 4-digit pager code, it's still my passcode for everything. I'm still living in the 90s. But it was what we saw with the evolution of marketing is you always had a marketing budget, right? And the marketing budget correlated with your company's growth goals. So you had X percentage of spend in order to achieve that growth. So you probably remember the 5-7-9% rule. So if you are maybe a smaller emerging business, you're spending about 5% of your growth projections on marketing. 7% is keeping up with the market. 9% is where you start to experience growth. So I remember that rule of thumb. I don't know, Sarah, that may have changed since then, but it's probably still somewhere around there.
It's somewhere around there.
And so what is really interesting is we need to bring that thoughtful process with budgeting and intentional spend that correlates to business needs and growth. So understanding, number one, what percentage of my revenue projection will I dedicate to technology? Because technology fuels growth. Now that I know that percentage, and those are figures that we have uncovered here at Powerhouse through our alpha and beta testing of this program, we understand what an appropriate tech stack budget should look like for a contractor so that they can start achieving those growth metrics. Now, once you know your budget, how are you allocating that spend toward the different departments within your business? So do you have your technology stack laid out by department where for marketing, who are your tech vendors? For operations, what are you using? Telecommunication, AI, how are you bringing that into your business, right? Everybody wants AI.
Right.
Or nobody wants AI. They want what
it's
AI
kind of like there's no middle.
Yes, I think I'm on the side of I don't want AI. I want what AI can do for me. Does that make sense?
It does.
It actually scares me, Sarah. Like AI.
Dude, I'm all in. I'm all in. If you want to give me a robot today and make it do my laundry, I'm done.
I know.
Serve me.
You were telling me some of the things that you have produced through AI, and you were blowing my mind the other night. And it's really cool how you've embraced it. And that's exactly what we should be doing with all tech, not just the scary AI. But I digress. So back to thinking about that intentionality, a helpful first step for contractors that are like, hey, this really makes sense. I want to try to get my arms around managing my tech stack. First, understand what you're spending. Where are you spending? What are you spending? And know each part of, so for example, your digital marketing companies, most contractors are going to take that and they're going to put it into a marketing spend. Right? But if they're handling email marketing and you are also paying for Marketing Pro, well, now you've just identified a duplicative spend, right? And so can you have that managed in Marketing Pro? Can you cut that cost? So really understand where your technology spend is currently going by department and stick to a budget. That will prevent you from buying into all of the shiny objects, which may not be at the right time for a contractor's particular stage in business.
Yeah.
Some of these shiny objects are incredible, but are they all appropriate for, let's say, our 1 to 2 truck shops?
No.
We need a thoughtful approach of how to increase that technology as the shop grows.
I think that's great. Like, it's such a great conversation to have. And I don't think it's such an opportunity. So what I'm seeing in your business right now is you're going after a lot of opportunities in the trades. And it's so appreciative because if you create a plan, like a blueprint is what you're creating, and say if they're 1 to 2 truck, well, cool, we'll get you to 3 to 4.
Yes.
But this is how we're going to do it. We're going to start with a budget. We're going to have intentionality. We're going to be incredibly thoughtful in our plan and strategic.
Yes.
Because we want you to grow because often some people will say, well, I grew to $5 million. I did this. And I'm like, that's amazing. That doesn't happen to normal people, right? Like, pat yourself on the back. But then they're like, I don't really know how I did this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, I don't know. And I was like, well, what are you using? Well, they're like, well, we have ServiceTitan, but I don't think we're using it to its full capacity. Yes. And I'm like, I use Salesforce, right? And so when I think of ServiceTitan, I think of Salesforce in some ways. And I know that I didn't use Salesforce to the full capacity because there's so many add-ons that you could do.
Yep.
And so when I have that conversation with the contractors, I'm like, who are you going to help you? Who are you going to get to help you? Like, utilize it fully. I was like, because that 5 million, maybe it could have been 10. Right? And then they look at me and I'm like, you have to find a consultant.
Yes, it's the plateau.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm so glad that you said that. So, and I'd love to highlight our partnership with ServiceTitan and how we work together to support contractors, because I'm often asked, when do I bring in a consultant? In fact, I think that question was asked on the ServiceTitan Town Hall recently. Yeah. And it's a really important question. And the answer is utilize the resources that ServiceTitan gives you because they're incredible. I do not know another SaaS company that offers the amount of support that ServiceTitan does. Salesforce, for example.
Yeah.
When you were using Salesforce,
I didn't know how to get a hold of anybody.
There wasn't anybody there.
Right.
If you want to architect Salesforce, you hire outside firms. I mean, there are massive firms that all they do is focus on Salesforce implementation. And so ServiceTitan is quite unique. And I do believe the founders had that same vision of this is a people industry and we're not going to remove the people from it. And they treat their partners with that same validation and respect. Is we understand that we're providing support, typically tech support to our contractors. And if a contractor wants to take it to the next level, if they want a strategic plan that aligns with their unique business, that's a third-party expertise that you're tapping into. It's a completely different type of service. So, can we provide technical support? Sure. But can you go to ServiceTitan for it? Yes, and you should, because it's included. Utilize us for the strategic, where we're looking to, okay, how are we going to take your business to the next level by fully leveraging technology, taking that tech-first approach to operationalizing your business, to streamlining, you leveraging automation to take labor burden off of your team so they can focus on revenue-producing activity. That's the way that we think. And back to our advice and where do we start? I'll take the same model that I built Powerhouse on, is a responsible approach to growth. So it's knowing that we have aggressive growth plans, but how are we going to responsibly achieve them so that we're not cutting into profit, so we're not burning out our team members? That is huge. Yeah. Caring for your team is the most important thing that we can do as owner operators, so that they can care for your customers. Yeah. Right? So that they can be their best selves. And so taking that responsible approach means, you mentioned this, how well are you using ServiceTitan or your primary FSM? Do you understand what's available to you? Do you know if you have proper workflows in place? Can you trust the data that you're reading from your reports? If you are questioning any of those responses, it's worth a good look at your foundation. Because if you don't have that foundation built properly, any of these tools that you're implementing or integrating into that software are not going to give you the results that you want. So responsible growth means mastering what you currently have in place, easing the burden from your team, having proper communication with your homeowners, and then focusing on growth through third-party tech.
Nice. And so if someone wanted to get a hold of you or Powerhouse Consulting and maybe just have an audit or whatever service that you provide in the initial beginning, how would they get a hold of you?
Sure. So anyone can visit our website. We're at mypowerhouse.group. Again, that's mypowerhouse.group. It's a little bit strange, not a .com, but welcome to go on our site and view the services that we provide. We've talked a lot today about ServiceTitan support, implementation, optimization, pro product build out, which you know we love, but also our contractor resource planning services, which does begin with initial discovery. So working with a contractor to know what do they currently have, where are they at, what are their business goals, and then we build into a full audit of tech stack. So if your listeners are interested in any of those services or learning more, the best place to start would be at our website.
Yeah. It's been super exciting just watching you grow.
Thank you, Sarah.
It is such an honor to know you and to know Pam and your team and to see the success that you have had. I'm so incredibly proud of you all.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next year and how big you're going to be. And when you're back on the podcast, you'll be like, yeah, we just grew another 30 people. And I'll be like, oh, that's awesome. But really proud of you. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today and in Austin.
Thank you for your support. It really means so much how you've championed Powerhouse, how you've supported us along the way. We look forward to continuing to serve you, ServiceTitan, contractors, and really just putting the best work out there, understanding how we can hopefully make everyone's lives a little bit easier. That's what we're here to do. So thank you genuinely for meeting with me today, for allowing me time on your podcast, and overall just for your support. It means the world.
Thank you. Well, listeners, if you love this episode, please leave us a review. We're super excited to just be here and be with you. Thank you so much.
And that wraps up another episode of The Trademark, where we bridge the worlds of the trades and marketing, one story at a time. We can't wait to see you next time. Thank you to the trades for giving back big, loving big, and taking massive action. Don't forget to join us next time for more engaging conversations and innovative ideas. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and share it with your colleagues and friends in the trades and marketing. Your support means the world to us. Stay connected with us off the air by following us on social media. We'd love to hear your thoughts and get your feedback. Until next time, keep making your mark in the trades. Thank you for listening to The Trademark. Goodbye for now, and remember, we're with the trades for the trades.